Have you seen these ACA premiums for 2026? It's absolutely insane, and healthcare affordability is really starting to look like a thing of the past. But how did we get here? Why are prices so high, and what can you do about it now? That's what millions of Americans are asking themselves. I know I was when they're looking for health insurance going into 2026. So let's take a look at what actually happened. Over the last few weeks, I've talked to a lot of families who opened up their renewal letters, and they genuinely thought there was a mistake that had been made. Not only had their premiums doubled, but in some cases it had even tripled. And the same question came up every single time. How did this get so expensive so fast? And so the important thing to understand about this is it didn't happen overnight. So let's just slow down for a second and take a look at what actually caused this. Here's the truth. This didn't start in 2025 or 2026. This actually goes back to when the mandates were removed. What happened was millions of healthy Americans left the marketplace, just leaving the people that needed care to stay on the plans. Now, what happens is if there's only those that need to use the care on the plans, the cost of the plans go up. It's just math. That's the way that it works. And this is what ended up happening in this case. So premiums were already creeping higher long before the recent chaos. Then the pandemic hit, and honestly, one of the few good things that came out of that was that the subsidies were expanded. And so a lot of people were seeing plans that were actually affordable. A lot of people were seeing plans that were $0. And it really did feel like the ACA was finally working the way that it was supposed to. Then those enhanced subsidies expired. Congress had a chance to extend those, but what it led to was a gridlock that eventually shut down the government altogether. There's a big fight, and in the end, the subsidies were not extended, but premiums still rose anyway. So now we had a situation where the premiums were at higher levels than they had been, and the subsidies were back at pre-pandemic levels. And that led to where we are now, where families are seeing their plan premiums now double or in some case even triple. And this comes at a time when currently inflation is squeezing everyone. I hear from people about this every single day. Parents that are trying to protect their families, young adults who weren't able to get coverage before and now are feeling like they're priced out again. And then the worst are those that can't go without insurance and are struggling trying to figure out how they're going to pay their premiums. And honestly, I get it. Things should have never gotten this bad. Now, here's the part that most people aren't hearing. You actually have options. You're not stuck. One option is the off-exchange plans. These don't use subsidies at all, and for certain income levels, they can actually be a lot cheaper than the marketplace plans. Another option is short-term medical. Now, this one's not for everyone. It's mainly for those that don't have any major illnesses. They're not worried about the little things, the doctor's office visits, checkups, things like that. What they're mainly concerned about is if something major were to happen. And this is a way that the right person can save a ton of money in monthly premiums. Another option is a bronze plan plus an HSA. Now, the great thing about this is that if you drop from one of the silver or gold plans into the bronze plan, you still have coverage for the catastrophic things. With the HSA, you get a break on your taxes as well. And a lot of times the bronze plans are going to be much cheaper, but still include things like co-pays, urgent care coverage, and coverage for prescriptions. One of the biggest things that most people don't even think about are changes in income strategy. A lot of times what I'm seeing is either there's mistakes made on the application and people don't know what they're supposed to put, and so they're paying more when they don't have to. And they don't realize that if they go to their bank and set up an HSA, they can actually bring their income down. So if they're on the edge, they can sometimes get a subsidy when they otherwise wouldn't qualify for one. Over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to break these down in their own separate videos. I'll go over how they work, who they're for, who should avoid them, and how they can make insurance affordable again going into 2026. And when I say affordable, I mean realistically affordable. If you're looking at your 2026 premiums and thinking there's no way that I can do this, send me a message, schedule a time to talk one-on-one. Neither one costs you anything. The main thing is we want to look at these things side by side and see what's going to work best for you and your family. You're not alone in this, and you don't have to panic your way into 2026. A lot of times, affordable health care is within reach. It just takes a little bit of information and a little bit of clarity.